Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And Cameron.
Back again after a while.
I know, we haven't had a guest in so long, we almost forget what it's like to have guests.
Well, he was kind of like you. Cameron and RJ were kind of like your new co-host for about like a month or so. So
yeah, there's that time period where we were like, what do we do? Do we get a phone out and talk to each other? I'm like, it sounds complicated.
And that's literally what we did for like 2 weeks. But it sounded like Larry. It sounded like Larry King though.
Yeah, it only worked. Its charm doesn't last longer than 5 minutes or so.
Yeah. But no, anyway, good to see you, man. It's been like I think a year since I've seen you at least.
Yeah, I know.
And still technically it's Skype, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Skype, it's like seeing people in the future without having to actually go in their dirty fucking houses again.
Without having to breathe the same air as people, without having to get up, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. Whenever I think Skype, I just think 2001 Space Odyssey. It's like, we finally got there. You know that scene at the very beginning when like he calls up his daughter for like her fucking birthday or something?
Yeah.
Like
here's how I wish I could be a little as highbrow. I think Jetsons, but I wish I could be as highbrow as 2001.
Well, I remember one time my dad asked me, he was like, what's that Skype thing I hear about? I'm like, Dad, did you know that part in 2001? And then I just explained that to him, and it's like, that's what it is. We got there. And he was really excited to hear that part.
And he gets it?
Yeah, well, 2001's one of his favorite movies, so...
That's awesome.
Don't you wish there's almost like a customization thing we could do with Skype, where like because they basically had Skype and Pokemon too. So I think for a younger generation, it would be like Pokemon when they talk on the phone, because it would be like a screen. It was always a screen. It would be like some very irritating voice, like ring, 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 phone call, ring, ring, ring. Remember that?
Yes, I do. I think the part's so... I want that ringtone because it's just so fucking obnoxious.
It'll probably make you answer your phone a lot quicker. You just can't simply ignore that.
Yeah, plus if you're like in a public area and you're like, oh, fuck, shit, fuck! And they're like, dude, do you have that fucking ringtone from like Pokemon episode 3?
Yeah. I remember it happening a lot. For whatever reason, that stuck out with me. Maybe it was only 1 or 2 or 3 episodes. I'm surprised you got it down to a science, so you know it down like exactly what episode it was.
Well, the reason I know what episode it was, because I know it's on, like, remember when they had the VHSs you could get it, but only have like 2 episodes each? I know it's on one of the first 2 VHSs. That's the only reason I say that.
Okay.
That time period where, like, when you want, like, in a sense, season sets of shows, it was the most fucking expensive thing ever, because I think it cost about $15 for 2 episodes. And $15 in fucking 1998 or 99, that's like $25 today almost.
Inflation.
Holy crap.
Fuck, man.
Well,
go ahead.
now you continue. Say what you're going to say.
Mine was nothing new. And don't mind the banging. That's my heater. It does that. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it or not.
Yeah, it's just like a midget. It's fucking pounding up a hammer getting to work.
There's like, we have our heater. I've never been inside, but I'm pretty sure it's like a midget on a hamster wheel or something like that. And someone just, whenever he like slacks off, there's like some guy like in a executioner mask just banging a hammer against it. So, you know, that's my guess. I don't know. This thing, it goes off. Like, I'm not sure if you can still hear it, but it literally sounds like a fucking robot's getting raped or something in the walls. Because just hear this clanging around, and it kind of goes off. It'll go off like at 9 o'clock at night. Around 7:30, which is what it is right now, and then like 6 o'clock in the morning.
So it's like your natural alarm
It's your
clock.
fucking alarm clock, man. That's
I don't need to set my alarm clock anymore because I got a fucking there's like something metal getting raped in our fucking basement. So yeah.
It's just the Iron Giant's been trapped down there for years.
Yeah.
He's just like, no, get me out of here, Ryan!
He's like, I am not a gun. We don't give a shit. You're going in that goddamn basement. Only place safe for you.
We're going to fuck the shit out of you in Dr. Wong's evil cavern.
But I am not a gun. Yeah, we can sure as shit be a heater.
Poor Vin Diesel. But speaking of movies and sweetness, Ryan, I heard you just saw Mad Max 4.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, I got to see it. I saw it first showing at good old 7:15 at night. Mm-hmm. But I really liked it. I'm not going to say it's like the most perfect Mad Max film, but I still enjoyed the hell out of it. And Cameron saw it, too.
Yeah.
And Cameron saw it, by the way. Yeah,
by the way.
Well, let's just get this part out of the way. I'm gonna say some shit. It ain't gonna be so popular, but I really loved that movie. In all honesty, Mad Max. I like Mad Max movies. I don't remember the third one that well. I saw it. I don't really just remember it that well. I remember like he gets a monster truck at some point. He crashes, meets a bunch of Lost Boys out in the desert. The whole Thunderdome Arena. I remember that. I don't remember much of it. I think this one might be my favorite. I mean, Mad Max isn't something that came to me until I got to college. Really, I didn't really see it till then, and I knew of it. But I think this one might be my favorite Mad Max.
Well, you know what this movie reminds me of? It just reminds me like fucking George Miller went out to a bunch of fans and said, "What was your favorite part about Mad Max? What are the things you really liked?" And someone was like, "You know what? I love the fucking cars. Could you just put a lot more fucking cars in that?" Duly noted. Somebody else was like, "The really over-the-top characters. That's fucking awesome. Put more of those punk rock guys up there." Sure thing. And from that point on, he just kind of pieced this together. And with technology we have nowadays, he just made like, because this movie, it literally reminds me of, it's like Mad Max as fuck. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but it just is Mad Max as you can fucking get. Like, it almost feels like it's not even really necessarily a Mad Max movie. It's like somebody who loved Mad Max so much wanted to make a Mad Max movie of his own. And that's what it is. It's that intense.
Yeah, especially like there's the part where it was so fucking ridiculous. And I laughed not because like, oh, it's stupid. It was ridiculous. But I laughed. It's like, oh my God, it's so ridiculous, so awesome. I can't believe this actually happens. There is a motherfucker on like a car with a bunch of amps behind him playing a guitar that's also a fucking flamethrower.
It is a double neck guitar too to top it off. That part to me is like, I laughed every time it came up.
Did you notice? It was the top was a guitar and the bottom was a bass.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Huh. That's even more badass.
He's a one-man band and like an executioner.
Well, I just thought that was the coolest thing because at first they show these guys pounding on giant drums like, oh, that's pretty cool. They're driving out for a mission. And then they show this guy fucking playing heavy metal. And I was just like, oh, that is the coolest.
He shoots a fucking flame off it when he hits like a certain note.
Yeah. Well, just talk about that. That's like, okay, you got this whole army of fucking cars, but instead of having your own radio, no. You have a guy who's fucking playing fucking heavy metal music the whole time you're out there.
The whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm just thinking in my head, seeing all the cool effects and all the cool cars and everything. Those guys that made that film must have had a fucking blast, like fucking doing all that, you know? I mean, your imagination's a fucking roof.
That or like George Miller came in like dressed like Lord Humongous, you know, and just like went over that policy like if you fuck it up, then you know they literally were the guys tied to the front of the car and all that shit.
But you know what's the fun thing? I know I just went back and rewatched all three Mad Max films again, the old ones, with watching the fourth one, because I probably haven't seen Mad Max. It's been at least about 5+ years since I saw the old ones. And don't get me wrong, it's like I've seen those movies a copious amount. When I was a kid, they were some of my favorite films. But it's kind of like a Star Wars one. Like at some point, I just watched them so many times that I kind of just took a break for them for a bit. And then when I finally went back and watched them, like I really think about all four of them are about all pretty much on par for each thing they kind of do. And I actually have a great respect for that third one because I used to think of that as kind of the weaker one. And I just watched it not too long ago, or a couple days ago, when I was like, dude, this one's just as fucking good as the other, as number 2 and 3. And the first one's just really cool, too. Even though I always kind of wonder, what happened to that fucking, like, little town that's still, like, partially sort of, like, civil?
Are you talking about in the second one?
No, in Mad Max 1.
Max 1, right.
Because, like, in that one, it's like, okay, the war already just kind of happened. I don't know how long ago it was. To me, I picture it, like, 5 years ago or something like that. And this town that they're sort of in, yes, there's kind of a bunch of gangs running around, but it's not like, you can still go buy an ice cream cone, and it's not like the biggest deal. Mm-hmm. And then, like, but, like, where is this town to the rest of the world? Because, I mean, like, I assume that Mad Max 2, Road Warrior, is probably about what, like, maybe another 5 years after the first one, would you say? And, I mean, he's way off into the fucking desert of Australia, of course, but...
I just assumed that basically, number 1 was a little bit in the future, like no bombs have dropped yet. It's just kind of like, yeah, nations are warring and anarchy's taking place. So it's kind of like the early stages. And then then once we hit Road Warrior, that's where the bombs actually dropped. So now what's left is people that basically huddled in shelter and like S&M clubs and bondage gear because that's all they're fucking wearing.
in like football clothes.
Yeah, I guess they like half humanity in Australia hid like in a bondage club. The other half hid in like a sportswear goods.
Yeah. Well, because I think in the Road Warrior, I think it explains it's like, because they do the kind of a quick summary, like, just in case you didn't see Mad Max 1, here it is.
Yeah.
And they do the thing where it's like, fucking there was a war, I was a cop, now we're in the fucking wasteland. And like, it goes by kind of quick, but... Mm-hmm. So I think the war still happens before Mad Max 1. I think that's still like, sort of like, there's still civilization. But like in like the rest of the movies, all these people they're always looking for this area. Like that, we know there's a civilized area out there, and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, there is an area. You can go fucking buy ice cream cones. You got to deal with a bunch of douchebags on motorcycles, but other than that, it's not that bad.
That's their staple. Here, you can buy ice cream cones and not get raped.
Well, you can still get raped.
Actually, yeah, that was their slogan. Then like 10 minutes into the movie, scratch that off. Paint something else there, just like, you know.
Well, it kind of just reminded, like, also George Miller, like, he sort of had that idea, because, you know, Mad Max 1, kind of, you know, it's a low-budget movie, but still enough where he's like, I got this idea. It's kind of post-apocalyptic, you know, we got these kind of gangs running amok, you know, and so on. But once that movie kind of got popular, it's like, no, wait a second. There's a lot more I want to do with it. We're just going to, like, take this to the next level of fucking the Road Warrior.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's where you start getting the guys in fucking Road Warrior vehicles, just all stripped down. You know, they got football armor on, spikes, punk rock like and everything. And it's just carnage out there. And then the third one takes you to like that area where it's almost like people have gone more almost like back to like tribal times. Mm-hmm. Sort of like they still have some of their modern technology, but it's more back to like throwing spears and wearing loincloths and like guns are so few and far between.
Mm-hmm. Where I think like as far because I haven't seen the third one in a while, and I don't remember like hating it or disliking it. Maybe kind of like, oh, it's kind of the weaker of the three.
That's what I thought. But when I watched it again, I actually went like, dude, this one's actually pretty fucking good. I mean, yeah, it's okay. It's not rated R, so it doesn't have like some of like the violence that the other ones have. But I was like, you know, the story's pretty cool. I like the Thunderdome part is really badass because I used to think that was like the best part of the movie. But the ending scene at the car was really cool. And then, like, the Lost Boys part, you gotta think about it, like, that movie, like, is fucking pre-Hook. You know that Hook was totally inspired by fucking Mad Max 3.
You can kind of get, I could actually see that just from looking at the way all the not the pirates, but all, like, the Wastelanders look just in Road Warrior.
Yeah, it's just like, but you mean, like, Hook with Steven Spielberg. You can see how that was totally inspired from Mad Max. Mm-hmm. But, and then Mad Max 4 just kind of jumps in there. Like, you were saying before that was supposed to take place between 2 and 3. It feels like it takes place after 3 because he keeps seeing the kids, like in his dreams.
That's what I heard. I mean, I heard someone say it takes place between 2 and 3. That's what I heard. Now, but I almost think, I mean, because he's seeing the kids, so clearly, I guess he fucked up or something. But after 3, but I mean, I haven't seen 3 in a long time, so I don't remember it that well. But I remember they're at the beginning of the movie. They're heading to Gastown, but Gastown gets destroyed in Road Warrior. Don't they do that? Well, aren't the bad guys like, we're going to fucking Gastown? Then like Charlize Theron, or like she's a fucking badass movie with like she has a robot arm and all that shit. She veers off and they go a different direction. Then they're going to find the Greenland or whatever. Weren't they heading to Gastown? I thought they were heading there.
Yeah, that is true. When I was watching, I was assuming it was a different Gastown movie. Now, maybe if that's the case, then that means the movie takes place between Mad Max 1 and Mad Max 2.
Possibly, yeah.
Which I guess that could be the case.
It doesn't matter. He's Mad Max. He's killing shit. Things are exploding. There's punk rock shit going on. There's there's a motherfucker with a guitar and bass that shoots fucking flames.
Well, there's a badass part, too, towards the end where fucking Mad Max jumps on that thing, takes the guitar from him, and starts fucking swinging it around like a weapon. I was just like, oh my god, this is so fucking awesome.
Tom Hardy had a pretty good Mel Gibson impersonation throughout the whole movie, I thought.
Well, when you're watching it, it's kind of like that thing. It's like, I don't think you could have picked a better person to play Mel Gibson. Mm-hmm. It sounds, not Mad Max, but Mel Gibson. Because like Tom Hardy, you look at him, he's like, he looks kind of like how Mel Gibson does in the first Mad Max movie and Road Warrior as well too.
He talks more like how he does in Mad Max than he does Road Warrior, I noticed.
A lot of grunts.
Well, yeah, that was the one thing I noticed too. He was so like primal, like, oh, you,
Gun, bullets, now.
That's why I almost kind of thought too. It's like Mad Max 4 because it was like, man, he's got very primal. Because the kind of the funny thing about each Mad Max story, it's always kind of the same thing. Mad Max is just minding his own fucking business. Yep. Out in the fucking, wasteland. Not bothering anybody, not wanting to trouble anybody. And somehow, some way, he gets thrown into a shitty situation, meets some people that are doing some good, and then he ends up fucking saving the day, only to the end to go back to like, okay, I saved your fucking town, saved your people, saved your children. I'm going back out to the wasteland to do what I do best. Hang out by myself, alone, not minding anybody else's business, and so on. And next thing you know, that happens again. Yep. He's really like this guy who's like, that superhero-ness of being that cop who he was in the very beginning comes back out again, though he still is trying to get away from around people.
Well, he even had a chance to kind of leave in this. He always does that, though, and I think all of them, except for the first one, he says, like, well, I got my money, fuck y'all bitches, I'm out, and drives away. And he's just like, okay, turns back around. Okay, so here's what we should do. We should all do this offense. I know I said I don't care, I'm done, but in the 10-minute drive over here, I thought of this amazing plan,
And by the way, I'm driving.
Yeah.
You didn't bring me here for any other reason but the drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. No, but what I do like about this one is because even though the first ones are really amazing, this is one like, okay, George Miller actually got a budget and got to do what he really wanted to do. So it's kind of like the first time seeing I know there has been large scale post-apocalyptic movies, but I can't think of one that's had a really big budget that's done it as good as this one.
I agree too, because all the other ones that I can think of that are like, let's say, because Road Warrior, that movie inspired so much, not only in movies, but especially video games. I mean, you look at Fallout, that's fucking Road Warrior right there. You look at, then you have Rage, another big inspiration. I mean, there was a lot there, but then let's take movies. What was the one with Denzel?
Book of Eli.
Book of Eli. Yeah. That's a really good one, but you can tell it's a lower budget movie because it's kind of on a small scale. Don't get me wrong, I liked it a lot, but not a big enough scale to have all these cars and chases and explosions and action. And
as far as I can tell, this is like the first one since like Postman to be on a really large scale.
That's true. Postman, I guess, is about the closest thing to being like that, and that's like a humongous scale.
But Postman didn't have that, like, I'll be honest. I mean, granted, I wasn't the smartest kid when I was younger, and I'm still not even the smartest adult. When I was a little kid, though, I assumed Postman was a Civil War movie.
Well, it looks like. I will say, when you look at the cover, that's what it looks like.
And I was just watching the movie. I mean,
and then Tom Petty appears, and you're like, Tom Petty was in the Civil War?
Yeah. I was like, man, I did not know, then suddenly we jump years, like a couple years later, and the girl's like, my father, like, oh, wow, what happened here? That's when I realized, oh, it's not a Civil War movie. I'll keep in mind, I'm like 4 or 5. Like, they're on horseback, they're firing guns, they're all by candlelight. Okay, this must be Civil War. All right, fair enough. And then, I remember, thinking, what was it? It was like, what was the part I'm thinking about? There's Tom Petty, which I didn't know who Tom Petty was at the time, but what was it? Oh yeah, I was more like, wow, I had no idea the post office built this country. That is amazing,
Well, you know what makes
it's kind of like, don't show a kid like Inglourious Bastards at a young age. Like, that's when Brad Pitt killed Hitler and saved the day,
Well, I could see also, this is where you could also get confused with The Postman being a Civil War movie, is because it has that same look and feel as Dances with Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? Like, same scale, both got Kevin Costner in it, both have people on horseback, both have a budget over $100 million.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Hell, Kevin Costner's he's in pretty much the lost, Mad Max movie, Waterworld. Another movie with a huge budget, big scope. I personally love Waterworld a lot. I know that for some reason there's many people out there that don't either, but maybe
Watermax.
See, I think I like Waterworld so much that I'm like, dude, it's fucking Mad Max on the ocean. How cool is that?
And yet still, I always kind of like those science fiction stories that actually involve just some kind of water world or something kind of like that. But no one wants to go back and touch that after Kevin Costner Waterworld, which now I think I'm not going to say everyone loves it, but I want to say it's a little bit of like, isn't it kind of a cult classic by this point?
Yeah, well, I think the main reason that movie kind of got shit on a lot.
Cameron's like, I don't know about that one.
Well, the producers kind of shit on it because it was one of those movies. It was like an Apocalypse Now, where like everything known to mankind went kind of wrong on it, so the budget went up to the max. The difference was it didn't come back and make a ton of money like Apocalypse Now did. But it made a pretty good sum, though. But the movie cost, I want to say, like $135 million back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And it only, on opening, first couple weeks, only made like $95 million. So compared to every other movie, it made a ton of money, but it didn't make enough money to make it worthwhile as an investment. But I think since, being syndicated on TV, DVD, and Blu-ray, like that movie's got to made a profit by this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus,
it was the 90s. They didn't care. They wanted it then. They wanted it now.
Yeah, well, it's just like nowadays almost, but...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, now I think people can actually notice longevity and go like... Because it seemed back then, like, it didn't do good in the theaters. Fuck it. It's a disaster. But now we actually literally got movies that are made to go on Netflix and on demand and do just fine. Snowpiercer got a very limited release, but also got that, download rental thing. And that movie made a lot of money, especially with the release.
Did I tell you I got you that Snowpiercer Volume 2 book?
Oh, you got it?
I
got one of them. I know you had one of them. I wasn't sure if you got both of them.
I got both of them, but the guy that's supposed to send me the first one, he missent me, so I have 2 copies of the second one. So I got one to give you for the second book.
Oh, thanks. Damn. Cool.
So if you buy the first one, you got a second one sitting here.
I'll keep that in mind. Much appreciated.
It was free, so enjoy it.
I will. I will enjoy the shit out of that.
Okay, but back to Mad Max. I can't remember what part we were getting at. We got so lost. Something about Kevin Costner, Civil War.
It was kind of like, I was confused as a child. It was just kind of like, it was like the first time I in recent years I remember seeing a movie, like a post-apocalyptic movie with that big a scale. Because usually, like you said, they always seem smaller, like Book of Eli, or I know The Rover, which I haven't seen yet, but I want to.
Or there's The Road that was the not nearly as interesting version.
Yeah, have you seen The Road, Cameron?
No.
Okay. Me and Spencer are like the only 2 people on Earth that do not like The Road. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything, but I was just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, it was just... What was our title for it? The real title? The better title?
Vigo and the Boy.
Yeah, Vigo. It has Viggo Mortensen in it.
Okay.
And it's just a story about him and his son traveling the wasteland. And they get into bad situations, and they easily get out of them. Every time.
Except the end. But, I mean, for the most part, though, it is kind of just very like, we just got to get to the east. Why do we got to get to the east? I don't know. Your mom told me before she fucking died and walked into the snowstorm when she went crazy. So, there must be something there.
There must be a Hooters there or something that's still open.
No, I never heard of that. Never watched it.
That was my dad. Like, I think the kid might be narrating the story. Like, that was my father's last wish to restart Hooters. He said it would bring some joy left to this dark apocalyptic world.
Hooters, it brings hope back to humanity.
Just all like these fucking irradiated people, like, yeah, hey, welcome to Hooters. Just serving fucking spam and like, jarred items.
But I will say, I think that's true though, that the closest thing that we've had to big scale to, technically not movies, but was video games. Because I'd say Fallout 3 being like the big perfect example of like close to a Mad Max
Wasteland.
Yeah, the Wasteland, that right there. I mean, they got fucking raiders and like, well, they look just like. It's like you're in Mad Max.
Mm-hmm. Every outfit and like nearly every other outfit in like Fallout is some kind of, like I said earlier, like some kind of weird like bondage gear or like some fucking like sportswear kind of thing they're all wearing.
And then Rage, that one that's made by Bethesda and id, which is like Doom 3.5. But that one was pretty much, you had the Wasteland part of Fallout, but then you had the cars of Mad Max put together. I mean, that game almost could have been a Mad Max video game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
is that one any good?
Yeah,
is that one any good?
It's pretty darn good. If you like Fallout, it's like Fallout with vehicles. Some people complain because the game's a little bit more linear, I guess, but I'll say this. If you like Doom 3 and you like Fallout 3, it meshes together really well and then throws cars on top of it.
See, I only ever played the demo of it, so I don't really know too much about Rage, but...
I never beat the game, but... I shouldn't bring the game down. But, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was really cool.
Have you guys seen the new trailer for the upcoming Mad Max video game?
I haven't seen the trailer, but I've been reading a few articles about it. It looks really fucking cool.
Basically they're trying to do kind of like open world, kind of Grand Theft Auto style, and it's not linked to the. I mean, well, I don't know if they got Tom Hardy, but it's not like tied into the movie. It comes out like several months from now, as opposed to trying to like force it to come out now, so rushing it. And it basically you have to like almost build your car. You start off out with like nothing. You got to go build your car. You can customize it to however you want, and then you just, I guess, from there just take missions, do whatever you want.
That's kind of how Rage is. Rage is like that too. You kind of build up your car and vehicle and put weapons on it and so on. I really hope for that Mad Max game though, because they've been working on it for years. I mean,
this was a movie they were talking about since 2007, and it kind of seemed like one of those things like, oh, wouldn't that be nice if that actually happened? But for a while I didn't think it was going to happen until I saw a trailer for it this year. So,
well, the thing too about it is you kind of wonder. It's like I know Mad Max, like its legacy is extremely popular, but I always kind of wondered, like, is the movie remembered nearly as well, like, to a younger generation? But it goes to show, totally is. Mm-hmm. But you always start to question that sort of, like, has it gone so far that people might not know what the Road Warrior is anymore? And things like that? Because technically, Mad Max Fury Road came out 20 years after Thunderdome. Exactly. Yeah, because 85 is when Thunderdome came out.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
yeah, I guess
so.
It's
been a long while.
Well, that's actually good. This one that's good. This one came out so good because so many people, like, after a while, when you have like some long, like, highly anticipated sequel to an older movie,
like Indy 4.
Like, yeah, Indy 4. I was going to try and avoid names. So, yeah, Indy 4. You do get a little bit of... Why'd you have to bring it up? I was just getting over that.
And all I'll say is, I'm one of those people, like, I don't think Indy 4 is, like, the worst movie out there. Yes, it may not be as good as, like, the first three, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's not the worst one. I mean,
well, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's not the worst one. It's like the worst one of the series, but...
Oh, easily the worst one of the series. I mean, but it was just one of those ones that it didn't really... I don't know. I liked it when I first saw it. The more I thought about it, the more I saw it. I'm like, oh, that Shia LaBeouf singing a bunch of CG monkeys. That's kind of silly. But whatever, I'm getting off point here. Usually, most of the time, when you have a sequel to something that came out like 20 years plus... it's usually doesn't meet a lot of, whether it's good or whether you find it good or not, most people usually don't find it that good. This is one where I think they kind of found that balance. Because, for instance, whenever they do like a Alien versus Predator movie, I think they're almost kind of like, they're too afraid to break away from the formula that made it. They're too afraid to break away from the formula. So they almost recreate scenes like, remember this part? Remember this part? You know? And I mean, I think it's cool to make nods and acknowledgments to that or saying old lines here and there. But I think sometimes they think that enough will save it, which it's not. And this is a movie where I think they kind of bounced enough, like, because I think that there's some stuff you could probably there's some stuff you're probably a little lost on, but I think most people could probably watch this movie and figure out what's going on, even if they didn't see any of the other Mad Max movies. And there's still like little nods right here, like how his gun always always has trouble firing, how he has the little music box thing, little things like that, you know?
Yeah, there's all those little teeny touches to it, but still enough, I think, that because does it give a little explanation in the beginning? It does. So it kind of catches everybody up to speed if you didn't see the first ones.
Mm-hmm. Some people I talked to are actually a little confused. They didn't see the previous ones, and they're a little confused why they all talk that way and why they're also kind of like, because it is. I'm not gonna lie. There is like I know it's in the other ones, so I was prepared for it. But they do have that weird. I mean, it's not just Australian, but it's just that kind of like almost that kind of weird rugby kind of like, this is gonna be a wonderful day. Yeah, they're all like talking like they just took like a hit of like they took a hit of crack or something. They're always super excited, talking real quick, you know. But they also kind of mix in a little bit of that old timey like not old timey English, but that kind of like warlord kind of, you know, of the wasteland kind of thing. So that's nice, throws people off. But I think for this movie it worked fine.
Yeah, I kind of had like
some other.
They had like that sort of like broken kind of like Australian English, I guess you would call it too.
It's kind of like broken Australian English mixed in with I want to say some kind of maybe Knights of the Round Table type shit, because they're talking a lot about that kind of like, this is my land and my people, that kind of shit, you know.
Mm-hmm. And this one had some like Norse god stuff in it too, because the guys kept saying like
Valhalla.
I will go to Valhalla.
And they would then
so
they get
much of
high
that.
off spray paint and like witness, and then like jump in towards something. At first, I thought they were taking some kind of drug that like made them like way more like.
Really? That's exactly what I thought too.
Yeah, then I realized, oh, that's just like a death thing. They just spray paint their mouth and just say witness, then jump. Like, oh, okay.
That one guy gets it like 3 times in the whole movie. He's like about to do it and then doesn't get it.
I thought it was funny that when he gets his third shot and he kind of like gets acknowledgement from like Immortal Joe or whatever the bad guy's name is.
Mm.
Right when he's like, this is my moment. He runs and like the chain gets hooked on something. He falls back. It's just like he just fucked up again. And he just like his whole life. I didn't know he was gonna become a major character after that. I just thought he was just one of those like cannon fodder characters. So they're like, his life is for nothing, you know. But then
actually, that was out of most of the characters in that movie. That was probably one of my favorites. Was that guy? Like, I fucking loved him, dude. He was funny.
I liked him once he. I mean, this is probably the way it was meant to be. I liked him once he actually really joined them, not just kind of tagging along. I assumed that he was gonna like die shortly after he like joined them in that one spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say they did a good job of doing the thing where like you start out and you're like, I really fucking hate that character. I hope he fucking dies. But as it goes on, you almost like turn and go, okay, like he does have good in him. You know, he's not all like a horrible like little douchebag that's fucking has to steal blood from people.
I thought, yeah, he got Elvis Presley's granddaughter saved him. So yeah, that's what that chick was.
Was it?
Yeah,
the redhead one.
Yeah, that was Elvis Presley's granddaughter, or like one of the many. You know.
Huh.
Wow.
Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron, what were some of your favorite scenes of that movie?
I really just the very beginning with Mad Max just strapped to the front of that car and they're just ripping along the the wasteland and stuff and he's like getting blood drawn out of him and all that. That was I don't know. I just love that whole sequence right there because it was like what the first 5-10 minutes of the movie or whatever. You know?
Well, I think that was a little bit farther in there because don't they have to go through the whole area when he's kind of like sort of in prison after he takes off because he takes off at the very beginning after his narration, fucking flips his car and all of like. Yeah. 3-minute drive. I don't know how Mad Max ends up flipping the car so many times in those movies, but
who knows?
He finds a way.
Even the very end of the movie too, when they decide to crash that big rig into the giant pillars and all that. Like I thought that was a really cool sequence. How all the animations and everything was going on, dude. It was really cool.
The more I think about the movie, I mean, I just saw it, so I can't really think of anything really to complain about. The one thing I really loved about that movie was. Like the first real big action sequence, like once, like you mentioned, Cameron, there's that part where he's tied up to that car. You say 10 minutes. To me, it felt longer, but not like in a bad, like, oh, wow, this is dragging on.
Yeah.
That part from like right when they leave, right when Charlize Theron leaves and they start following her up to the part where they drive through the sandstorm and then they crash. I don't know about you, but guys, that was like the first time in a long, because there's plenty of movies we've seen and talk on this podcast where I really enjoyed the movie, but that was one of the first like real big action scenes that actually like really wowed me. I mean, I saw Avengers 2. Avengers 2 was really awesome. There was some cool shit in Avengers 2. But that was one of the first scenes in a long time that just wowed me that much. Because when it stops, I don't know, there's so much adrenaline going that whole scene, going through that sandstorm. It felt like it lasted like 15 or 20 minutes.
Exactly, right?
Maybe it did. It probably wasn't that long, but it felt like it the first time around. And when I say that, it doesn't mean like I got fatigued by it. But when it suddenly just stops, you're just like, well, I don't know. There was this weird kind of like, to me, I don't know if you guys got this. There was this sort of like, whoa.
Yep.
What the fuck just happened? This all just happened? You know what I mean?
Well, one thing I think is kind of cool, too, is I like how in the trailers, they pretty much only showed you, like, the first beginning stuff. Because most trailers nowadays, they show you cuts from all over the movie. This one really only showed you stuff that happened, like, in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They didn't really spoil any of the rest of the stuff for you. I mean, they might have thrown a handful of, like, quick shots in there that you would not have noticed. But other than that, though, the most of the stuff was all in the beginning. And I thought that was kind of cool, because I thought that tornado thing would have probably happened way towards the end of the movie or something like that. It's like, oh, dude, that fucking happens the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty cool, because that way, it's like, that you're not getting all the good stuff. Like, they just didn't show you all the good stuff in the trailer. There's a lot more to come right there.
Yeah. Now, I do have a couple minor complaints. Number one minor complaint, sort of a slightly big one. I just wish Mel Gibson had a cameo. That's all I'm asking for. I mean, I already, it's one of those ones, like, I think Tom Hardy does a really good job. I'm totally fine with him being Mad Max. I mean, if it was one of those movies like an Expendables one or something like that, where it's like, or like Terminator 5, where it's like, no, here's Mad Max, he's old now and so on, and it's Mel Gibson playing him again, I think that would have been amazing too, but I accepted that, so I'm fine with that. But I wish he was just in there just as a cameo, like something small. I mean, maybe that would have thrown off, been like, wait a second, is that not the same Mad Max or something weird like that?
Yeah.
Or even if he played like a different character. Somebody even mentioned this to me. They're like, dude, they're like, what if Mel Gibson would have played like the main bad guy and it would have been all that makeup and you didn't really realize that was Mel Gibson for the longest time? And I was like, that would have been kind of cool too. See, something like that would have been neat. That's something to me, like, just as a Mad Max fan. And I know, like, a lot of old people kind of had that thing too, because whenever you told an old person, like, dude, there's Mad Max 4 coming out, like, oh, Mel Gibson's gonna be back, and you're like, no. And they just kind of have that look, like, oh, well, that'll be cool, I guess. Like, it really brought down a lot of, like, older people, but I mean, I understand it's one of those ones, like, you're going to keep Mad Max younger, and I know it's hard to sell Mel Gibson as a hero anymore, but that's where I think that the villain would have been kind of cool. This is my only other smaller kind of complaint. I noticed the movie, it's rated R, but it's kind of like a borderline rated R movie. It doesn't, I mean, I'll say this, just for this day and age, it feels like a safe rated R movie. And I'm not really complaining because the action's all really good, but, you know, when you sort of think Mad Max, you kind of expect to see some, like, pretty violent stuff happen here and there. And there really isn't too much of that. And sometimes when there is something kind of violent, it has a quick cutaway or shows, like, only, like, a little bit of it. I mean, I don't think that's, like, a total complaint. But I did notice that this movie, like, it was very close to, it almost could have been PG-13. You know?
I could see it possibly, like, them pushing to be PG-13, like, George Miller may have been fighting them on that. And then so they're, like, just trying to film around it. So it's stuff they could probably add in. Like, he probably at the last minute got it rated R and probably just was able to add a couple of things in post. Like, there's the part where Immortal Joe's, like, face gets ripped off. Like, that. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of, like, cool, like, really violent parts. And the part where they pull his mask cord into, like, the wheel and his face gets ripped off. That's kind of a cutaway. But then later he pulls the sheet off, revealing to be him, revealing, like, oh, like, there's a huge hole in his face. And then, like, that's the only part that really comes to mind. I want to see maybe, like, 2 or 3 more.
Because there's a lot of sweet action in it, but you really don't see any, like, limbs getting chopped off, like a whole lot of blood. I mean, there's enough to probably make it an R movie, but it's almost like, you know, I think there's only, like, a couple fucks, if anything, in that movie. Like, it was something I just kind of noticed throughout. I'm like, and it was ones, like, not really bringing it down, but it did feel like, with everything else so extreme in it, you think you could just make it as R as fuck. But I think, due to Guardians of the Galaxy and the other Marvel movies that are really popular, that right there has sort of affected movies, like the rated R movie industry. Because now whenever somebody wants to make a blockbuster movie, it's almost like they got to be close to that PG-13 level again. Sort of like how in the 90s, the same thing kind of happened too. Is that a lot of movies kind of got pulled into like the PG-13 realm because that was the things that sold really well. And I mean, I guess you could say the last Mad Max movie's PG-13. I think it was re-rated. I want to say that it was originally rated R, but I think on the DVD cut it's rated PG-13. But not the biggest deal. But as I said, it just seemed kind of weird. Like with all this other extreme stuff, I actually expected that movie to be like almost like a Punisher Warzone violent. You know, that's kind of what I was expecting. You know, maybe Rambo 4 violent, something of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know how many George Miller plans continue making, but I can see them possibly trying to restart a franchise off this and just make Tom Hardy the new Mad Max. Because this one's clearly, I mean, it's been getting nothing but good reviews by everybody from what I've seen. And I think it's making some money. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm assuming it's making some money. That Pitch Perfect 2 movie came out this week, so I don't know. It has to go up against that. But I think last week it was number 1, wasn't it?
I think so. I think it did pretty darn good. Because I remember when I walked out of the theater, I was like, I really love this. But this does feel like a movie that I could see people kind of hating on really easy. Because it's filled with action. It's a little bit like strange for the average Joe. And so on. And I mean, Mad Max has always clearly been a guy movie. Not saying that girls can't like it. But I think there's a lot of like kind of girly girls that would be like, I don't know about that Mad Max guy. Like that just looks a little bit too scary. That just looks like a world of rape.
Well,
and then you can only go, Well, yes.
Well, on that note,
can't deny you there. I mean, rape is bound to happen. Kind of
on that
much
note,
it's like Matt. It's like on the Road Warrior when that one chick got left alone and she just got gangbanged and killed.
Which is unfortunate. Probably the hardest part of this movie to watch. But I will say this movie, what it did do a good job of is it made most of those girl characters pretty strong, and they didn't come like badasses just magically an hour after they meet Max. But as the movie goes on, they all like become a lot more stronger characters. Where usually in like other like post-apocalyptic movies, like girls like that would just be basically rape fodder. But then this movie, they actually kind of became like badasses as it all went along.
That's true. Really quickly, here we go. We got Pitch Perfect, made $69.2 million. Mad Max is at $45.4 million. Made
as of yesterday.
So yeah, so it's I guess it's a little bit. I'm surprised that Pitch Perfect actually fucking made that much money.
What the fuck is Pitch Perfect? What is it?
It's like a bunch of it's a girl singing movie. That's all I know.
It's a girl singing movie.
It's like one of those movies.
Yeah, it's a comedy about like
a mosquito fly next to you somewhere. There's that motherfucker.
Just slaps Cameron.
Yeah, slap that fucking window shut. Okay, but I forgot.
Yeah, it's like I've never seen.
Oh, but no, I thought that was kind of a cool thing. Is those female characters kind of come around, and another cool thing too is because I guess the whole story of this movie is Charlize Theron. We fucking forgot it. Charlize Theron's in this. It's not fucking just Mad Max. But she's
basically the main character.
Technically, that's my other third, I guess, slight complaint. I guess it's not really much, but Max, if he did not get captured, he would not have nothing to do with this movie. I mean, I know that's kind of the Mad Max thing, is he gets thrown in these situations without really wanting to be in them, and then ends up saving the day in the long run. But he is sort of like the side character of the movie the whole time, for it called Mad Max. Once again, not the worst thing, and I don't think that really brings it down. I don't think it really brings it down, but it's something I just kind of noticed, I guess.
I think for me, it's one of those things that didn't bother me. It was more of anything like he wasn't like, it was almost kind of like they shared equal screen time. But if this makes any sense, she's more the heart of the movie. He's almost the one kind of moving it along. Yeah,
he's like the action part of it.
It's kind of like, I guess, sort of like even though she can hold her own. But I'm gonna make it's almost kind of like a Sarah Connor Terminator kind of thing. Like we're all like, they're selling it on Arnold, but Sarah Connor, John Connor are really the main characters. It's something
that's true, like a Terminator 2. That actually makes a lot more. That makes sense like that. But I guess you could sum up this man's story. This Charlize Theron takes off to go pick up gasoline and supplies. Instead, what she does is she captures pretty much the main villains, like sex slaves for like Rebirth. And takes them and like, I'm going to take you to the area I was born, the promised land, where everything is good, blah, 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 blah. But when she finally gets way out there, she finds the people of this land, and it's just a bunch of these old ladies, which is something you don't really see very often in movies, is, a bunch of old women fucking kicking ass. Very, very fucking rare. In movies.
The old lady with gray hair and the sniper rifle, she was a fucking badass.
Serious.
Yeah,
it's just riding motorcycles and shit.
Yeah, and they're just all fucking living out there and stuff. And it's just, you almost never get that in movies. So I thought that was kind of cool, having that, and then having these characters be like, yeah, well, there was that land and it dried up over time. The desert took it over. Blah, blah, blah. We got to go back.
And just a lot of the imagery, when they actually drive through that area, you see it's this kind of like weird, like muddy swampland, and you see there's people out there just on stilts, like these weird kind of like crawdad like stilts, like going through the marshes.
I thought about that and like they never really came back to that, and I thought that was a really like weird, creepy, quick image of just this guy fucking walking up these stilts on all four limbs, and it was just like, dude, I'm like, that's gonna be fucking something crazy and weird, and then like it's just like, oh, okay, we just bypass that. Yeah. But it was almost kind of cool when it's that subtle though. Maybe like it leaves you wondering what the fuck that is.
They just went by like, oh, that's fucked up. They just keep driving, roll them up.
Yep. Roll them up. Just like driving through the ghetto of Cincinnati or whatever.
Oh my god,
dude! Vacation Mad Max, Griswold and Mad Max Land.
Did you get to see that new trailer for Vacation during your Mad Max?
God.
The Red Band one?
Well, it wasn't Red Band at Sonora, but...
Yeah, I saw it.
I will say that, okay, that's like the smart way to go about making that Vacation movie though is it's technically Vacation 5, but it also can be sold as like a Vacation reboot. But it's Rusty Griswold's now all grown up, and he's taking his kids to fucking Wally World.
Mm-hmm. I will say though, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really dying to see it. I can see they're trying to do the 21 Jump Street thing, kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We kind of know this is kind of silly, but we're gonna do it anyway, you know? Because 21 Jump Street totally did that. Like, there's a part in that movie where they're getting reassigned. He says like, yeah, we're sending you to 21 Jump Street. Like, what's that? He says like, oh, well, every once in a while, the higher ups like to dust something off and kind of bring it back in and pretend like it, like hopefully no one notices and pretend like it never happened. But you know, there's kind of a faint pause. Anyway, so you know, they just kind of like insulted the whole movie itself right there. And this one kind of has a similar in the trailer. They have a similar scene kind of like that. Like, well. Like, I never even knew about your first vacation. It's okay. I think this should be able to stand on its own just fine. You know, something kind of like that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They even, like, broke the fourth wall sort of inside.
That kind of humor, yeah.
My other thing is, like, I'll probably see it anyways because I liked all the other four vacations.
Quit playing with the microphone. Much. Someone's playing with the microphone.
Oh, the cord's slapping against the microphone. My bad. Okay. But it's well as movies. I will say, it comes down to that. Sometimes, like, especially if a comedy, it's like, without Chevy Chase in it, he is really the guy who's like why you kind of watch Vacations. There's other great characters in it, you know, but Chevy Chase is like the centerpiece of like why those movies are so funny. And I think kind of if he's just going to have a 5-minute cameo, that might not be enough.
Well, he's probably too old. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised they're going back to like. Well, he's probably too old to be doing all the shit he was doing before. But, I mean, he probably doesn't even want to do it. He probably's like, it's a quick paycheck, fuck it. All right, yeah, I'll walk in for 5 minutes, this much money, out, done, you know. I could see him just not really wanting to do it.
I guess. Sometimes, yeah, I know some of those older comedians kind of get weird about doing it again. I can't imagine. I don't know. He did 4 of them.
I'm surprised. I'll say this. I'm surprised that they're going back to, like, an R-rated Vacation. I mean, that's good, but I'm surprised about that because as they went on, they all became, like, PG.
Yeah, they kind of like dip down like levels. Even though I'll say that Vegas Vacation, which was like the 4th one, which I think is only PG. I don't think it's PG-13.
It is PG.
That's like my second favorite one, or I like it almost just as much as the original.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many great jokes in that movie, but I don't know. That's the one area like I noticed that comedies where action movies have kind of been we're all getting back to a PG-13 family-friendly area. I think, once again, all due to Marvel, even though Marvel, those movies are good, but you could say that is why that's happening, is because of the success of things like Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy is what's affected things like Terminator 5 and even probably Mad Max.
Mm-hmm.
But comedies, at least, have stayed pretty well in the R-rated zone, and they can still sell well like that.
You know Randy Quaid ain't coming back. They ain't bringing his ass back after that viral video he posted.
I know. He's like the second funniest part of like.
I wouldn't say poor Randy Quaid. He's kind of lost all sympathy for me.
I don't really. I'm not one of those people like whatever he does there, like whatever. I don't care. It's like I still think he's one of the funniest parts.
Dude, fucked a dog on camera.
Yeah, but it's like that doesn't affect his acting career in some movies. It's not like he's fucking a dog on. It's not like he's fucking the family dog in like 1982 in Vacation.
I don't know.
Like, he's not, like, fucking running down the street and fucking it as it's being dragged behind.
It's just,
drinking a beer.
He's walking like a fucking lawnmower in front of him the whole time, holding onto its legs.
Yeah, it's just like...
takes it.
I don't know, like, that's that sort of thing. It's like when people flip out because Tom Cruise jumped on a couch once and people...
I don't give a shit about that. I'm just
flipping out because Kramer called somebody a nigger. It's just like, that doesn't affect, like, what they've done.
I know that doesn't affect what they've done. I can appreciate I can appreciate other things he's done, but like,
maybe if Randy Quaid was jumping on a couch, calling people niggers, and fucking a dog all at the same time.
That combination.
That combination of it all on Oprah.
Just jumping on the couch with the fucking doing the lawnmower with the dog.
I'm fucking a dog, you niggers. I'm fucking a dog, I'm fucking a dog. It's like, whoa, Randy, calm down. But still, I'm gonna say it's like I don't know.
I can't defend that dude. It's one of those things. It's like I don't even think his acting. It's for me. It's not even like he is such a good actor. It's more of like, oh yeah, he had some funny roles.
I guess I always liked him. I always thought he was funny in movies. So, but it's sort of that thing. We could all tie this back around to Mad Max, once again, it's like Mel Gibson. He kind of did the same thing to himself by, kind of going off on the Jews, and that's why he can't get roles back in his old movies anymore.
I can I see. I think he's at least talented enough to where I can enjoy other work of his. Like I could still see him as a villain in a movie, or he is even like I wanted to see that movie, The Beaver. I wanted to see that, so I can still.
I still think The Beaver yet?
No, I haven't seen The Beaver.
Fucking awesome.
I haven't you had such serious sincerity in your voice, man. It's fucking awesome. I can't believe you even seen it. I don't even fucking know you, man.
Dude, I fucking support Mel Gibson all the way in all his movies. I don't think I've missed out on any of his ones. He had some really good movies like in the last while, but they're all kind of like underrated like films. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing. I still respect him enough as an artist to see like other movies of his. So that's kind of thing. Randy Quaid is somebody who's just been kind of like I don't know. He's always just been so kind of like he's never like really made a movie for me, but he's never really broke a movie for me. So it just like when that happened, like oh whatever, that's fucking weird. Okay.
It's not like he like made a movie for you. He's like Ryan, here I made a movie for you. Oh, what is it? It's me fucking.
Can it just be awkward? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Well.
Fucking.
I appreciate the effort, maybe not the technique.
But back to Mad Max, a movie that's just... I know that little fucker's flying around there.
You guys got a bird in the house?
Well, there's bird, but there's a mosquito flying around. It's like pissing me off. Yep. But Mad Max, I will say I just love the hell out of it. I hopefully hope that there's even like an extended cut that comes out on Blu-ray. I'd love to see any more of it. I hope they make Mad Max 5 now. I think the movie did good enough that they will. So yeah, that's a good thing there. Yeah. Just all in all,
I agree because they are trying to rebrand everything, and if it does good, chances are it will get a sequel. So, I mean, I think also we live in an age now where people can't accept the weirdness, because I know we got a lot of people that have like more internet access now. So I think that for that they could just. I don't know. I think this younger generation could like handle more weirder shit more than older generations. I think older generations. Well, I know Mad Max. Let's check this out.
Yeah, and Mad Max, like that Road Warrior movie, is once again such a big movie for the time. It changed a lot of people, a lot of things, and everything. I mean, we look at the influences it carried on.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
all
close,
good.
Man.
So close.
I gotta just. I don't mean to break the fourth wall here, kind of. Is that a Ghost in the Shell poster behind you?
Hell yeah.
He's got a couple of them.
Shadow Complex.
I was wondering what I was trying to figure. I can only see a little bit of it, so this whole time I was like trying to piece together, like, what the fuck is that? I seemed off this podcast because part of my what the fuck is that?
There's a part of your brain just there trying to decipher what that is by taking like one little piece of a corner of a poster.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I got.
We still got to look forward. This is a very crowbarred segue. Steven Spielberg was at one point in time talking about executive producing or directing a Ghost in the Shell movie, and on that note, he's also executive producing Lost World.
Yep, Lost World's like the number one thing. I'm so excited just because all the small things at the beginning of Jurassic Park. Like, there's fucking Barbasol shaving cream cans you can go out and buy that say fucking Jurassic World on them. How fucking cool is that?
Fucking Jurassic World.
Fucking Jurassic World. I went out, I felt like I was back in, like, 1997 with, like, Lost World, because Jurassic Park 1 had merchandise, but Lost World had, like, a copious amount of merchandising.
Oh.
I bought fucking fruit snacks of Lost World, like, cereal of Lost World. Dude, it's like fucking being back in 1997 all over again. If I can get my fucking Velociraptor, like, tennis shoes back...
I remember the toys for that. What they would have, what kind of annoyed me a little bit, is you would actually, I remember like if you got like the Jeep or something from Lost World, it would actually say Lost World on it instead of Jurassic Park. Like, wouldn't it say Jurassic Park? No, fuck that. It's Lost World.
Yeah,
this is out the old shit in with the new.
I know, it's kind of that small thing where you see things that say Jurassic World, you're like, just put the park back on there just for us old timers, but whatever. The one thing I just hope there's some more games coming out. They got that Lego Jurassic Park one coming out, which I'll probably end up buying that because it's the newest Jurassic Park game in a long time, just including that one kind of half-assed Telltale one.
Cisco has some one that he loves. That was
a Telltale one.
No, there's like a park builder one on like your cell phone.
Oh yeah, that game is pretty fucking cool for just being like a simple phone game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, look at this.
What do we have here? Oh my god.
The day of the release of that of the original Jurassic Park movie, my mom bought
This
these
kind
for
of
me.
reminds
I've
me
been
of a
having them
video
since.
podcast.
This is a stuffed velociraptor right here from Jurassic Park 1.
Does it have the Q on the side? Because all the toys had the Q. It was made to be like JP, but like it was basically a fucking lowercase Q.
Not on this one. The tag's kind of a little bit torn. I don't see it on the
So that's how
side.
they,
I know
that's
that's
what-
they're on the toys, but this is a stuffed animal, so it's a little bit different.
Now I remember they had like all the toys would always have like that battle damage thing, like just some piece of flesh that would just like pop off it, so you see its rib and bone and all that.
Yeah, I had that as a kid too.
Actually, these things come before Jurassic Park. These are 1992.
Really? They're
Made in San Francisco too, so you know it's like high quality. It's made in America shit.
That was at the launch night of that movie. My mom took me to go see it 3 times in one day because I wanted to see it so bad.
Oh damn!
But she ended up buying those for me. So
That's kind of like our Jaws, I think.
It really was.
Jaws. It's kind of it's a blockbuster horror movie directed by Steven Spielberg that a lot of kids loved and wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and that's really is Jurassic Park 1. That's my favorite movie of all time. It's practically my favorite series of movies. So when Jurassic Park 4 finally is coming out, just can't get more amazing than that. It's just all the little things out there that I just love just seeing this stuff.
I'm still having trouble calling it Jurassic. I'm still having trouble calling Jurassic World. It's still Jurassic Park 4 to me.
I know. Well, I call Mad Max 4. I don't call it Fury Road. I just call it number 4. It's just I think it's easier just to do things in numbers than it is to do things in like titles.
Yeah. So
But I love being in this world again where I can go out and get stuff. I haven't seen. I wish if they have some sweet toys, I wouldn't mind buying a couple of those Jurassic Park ones.
you just want to support anything Jurassic Park at this point, right?
I do. I just get excited. It's just like as I said, I see like a thing of fruit snacks. I'm like, I'm fucking taking those. Those little teeny dinosaurs, they're all mine. I'm like, no, tastes fucking awesome.
I would sometimes do. I don't do it as much now, but you would sometimes do that thing like. This wasn't around when I was a kid, but I know the kid in me would want it, so I'm going to get it, So, like, you'd see something like a Mario figure or something. Because when I was a kid, like, that kind of shit was hard to find. So now you see it just kind of like, you feel like, you're like, oh, man, I should get this. Suddenly, I always wanted this as a kid. Then when you get it, like, oh, that was a waste of $14. But whatever,
Yeah, so sometimes it happens, but sometimes you're glad you got it anyways. It, like, sort of brings back a childhood thing. Because for me, it's like, when I was a kid, there was a lot of Jurassic Park toys you can get. It wasn't like Mario or Sonic that was hard to find stuff. But parents didn't have that kind of money to go out and buy all those kind of toys. I had a couple of Alan Grant action figures, and that was about it. I think I had Alan Grant, Sarah Connor, and a couple other ones or not Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor, like the Terminator versus Jurassic Park.
That was pretty much it. I had a Sarah Connor action figure to play by Jurassic Park once. No, what's her name? Sarah. Whatever, fucking Sarah. That's not Sarah Connor, but Sarah from Jurassic Park or Lost World.
I can narrow it down.
So I had those, but Cisco on the other hand had like every fucking Jurassic Park toy known to mankind, so I could go over there and play with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
That was really like the poor kid's way of like enjoying like stuff. Is just sometimes you have to imagine your parents just like take you over to like a richer kid's house. Here you go have fun. He's got every Power Rangers toy, every Jurassic Park toy. Every Batman toy, and you're just like, this is the most amazing thing ever.
Just going there every day just to play with the toys. You don't even really like your parents are like, oh well, we could buy it for him, but we could just drop him off at Cisco's house.
Yeah. So it's like there was an upside to always having that, but so there is always that thing when you're a kid, like when you're older, and then you see these things of like I couldn't afford that when I was a kid, but now it's just like I have the money, I have the power. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I haven't looked at the toys. I should go look in the fucking toy aisle. I guess because when you don't just have like a KB Toys around the corner anymore, it's just not the same.
I just see you rolling in with like a giant like Jurassic Park like stuffed T-Rex, and Laura just looks at you and goes like, really? You're like, don't take this from me. Let me have this.
It's all I have. I need to look for that. I notice like a lot. Do you notice that toys nowadays that aren't made for adults they look like they're just cheaper? Like when I just look at like if you look at like a Batman toy that's like made for like a kid, like let's just say like a Beware the Batman action figure or something like that, like it just doesn't look nearly as high quality as like the Batman the Animated Series one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that as time went on, they Now they almost got like two separate types of toys now. They got kind of like here's the one that shoots a plastic missile that can fit into the Batmobile or a car or whatever. These are the well-posed, detailed ones that you're not supposed to take out of the box, but where they're super, you could like put them in any pose if you want to, but you're not supposed to take them out of the box.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, I just look
and those ones are usually like $25.
Yeah, they're really fucking expensive and they look cheap, and it's like, I don't know, it's just like... And I mean, you get the cool adult ones that are made to look cool and badass and just stand there, but they cost like $25.
About. Yeah.
But,
We're going to take a quick break right here, but now a word from our buddies at Painted Black Podcast. Take a listen.
I'm Pete, that's Brian.
Yeah.
There's Lou. We are Painted Black Podcast. We are Painted Black Comics.
If you could describe the show, what would you describe it?
Horribly offensive.
Balls to the walls.
True.
A good time.
I don't know. Unprofessional. I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Barney heard some screaming from next door. Right?
Hey, yo, Fred, I got kicked out of the house. Can I stay with you guys for a little bit? No, Barney. We're not friends like that.
You better go stay with Kazoo.
Yeah. Dum-dum, you should have said yes to your wife. Can you imagine what Disney World would have been like had he lived longer?
No Jews. That's the primary difference.
Yeah. I feel like he funded the Nazis in some way. I can't prove it.
The first fucking model of their helmet had ears on it.
Oh, the Basketeers are coming over the hill. What the fuck's going on?
Dosan sounds like a Renaissance painter.
He was the fifth Ninja Turtle. He wasn't right in the head. They didn't really bring him out too much. I'd like to fight the foot.
That's probably why they had those stupid ass toppings.
Bubble gum.
Fuck, who let those Santos order the pizza?
I want a
again?
stink bug!
Who put Legos on this shit? Can I give you money for sex?
I would enjoy making a transaction for a blowjob.
Can I get a receipt with that pussy?
Oh, yeah. How do I follow this?
Do you wash those briefs with starch?
Make that booty clap. Why don't you?
Let's hear Randy Newman doing the song for Pompeii.
Oh, he's on the spot.
Whoa, it's smoke. Volcano. Whoa, it's the smoke. Vesuvius.
well, probably one more thing. Cameron just got The Witcher 3,
Fuck yes.
and he's super excited.
How was that?
I haven't played it yet.
It just came out
I
today.
literally just got it.
Well, it is a nice looking case for
Dude,
it.
Dude, look at this. He was showing me like the inside. Look how much fucking shit they give you for like a game.
Okay. So you get a map, full-size map, the entire thing.
And it's a fucking sick map too. Like they did like a really nice job on and everything, not slapped together.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
there's fucking looks like it's a real map, like on the back, like it's been worn and it's been like, like a sailor's butt crack for a while.
okay.
The only place they could hide
You
it.
get a physical game manual.
Do you remember this? It's like going back in fucking time.
This is it now. When you open it up, is it just two black and white pages, or is it actual like physical manual with like illustrations of the pictures of the characters and all that?
I mean, I will say, comparative to an older manual, it is kind of weaker. It's about like 8 pages long, and it's in black and white, but it's still a manual for Christ's
Yeah,
sake.
I mean, you get a manual. Couple stickers, just, whatever.
The fuck of it.
The fuck is that? I don't even know what that is.
Oh no, here's
Oh, here it is. The not in the game manual, but the Witcher Universe Compendium, I guess, has all the illustrations and artwork and I don't know. I haven't even looked at any of this shit.
They didn't hold back.
story stuff.
They didn't hold back.
And then you get a soundtrack.
And you also got a graphic novel.
Did you get the
with it, too.
special edition, or is this the regular?
This is a regular edition, man. Grab that graphic novel. It came with a graphic novel too. The like hardback graphic novel. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I got that. So it's just
Oh wow.
killing monsters is what it's called. I don't know if it's backwards. On
I'll be
YouTube.
honest. I never played a Witcher game.
Dude, The
I never played a
Witcher is
Witcher.
fucking cool.
I know people.
But
I know people are big. Except about
Dark
this one.
Horse Comics style.
Oh damn. There we go.
And this was all $60?
$60.
See, like, look at that kind of quality. You don't get that anymore.
Okay, and then I'm gonna read this to you.
This right here is the best part. Listen to this.
This is from the developer. Dear Gamer, first of all, we would like to thank you for your support. We really appreciate that you have decided to spend your hard-earned money on our game and hope that you will have a fun time playing it. Over 200 of us have spent the last 3 years working on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and it is a great pleasure and humility that we present our game to you. At CD Projekt Red, we believe that when you buy our games, you're entitled to continuous free support, updates, patches, and bits of new and amazing content. We owe you that for believing in us and purchasing our game. To thank you, we have prepared something really special. 16 DLCs for you to download, totally free of charge, regardless of the platform or edition of the game you own. We salute you for your support and wish you a fantastic next generation of RPG gaming. CD Projekt Red. How fucking cool is that? Free DLC.
That is too awesome right there, because so many video game companies, they just like won the hearts of like a million fucking gamers, because right there, like, so many fucking... I'm almost kind of like cautious to buy any new video game now. I'm waiting several months, because they'll often just like throw a game out there and it'll already be on the disc, and rather than being something like, oh, here's something we made like a few months later, check it out, it's something already on the disc, you gotta pay extra money to unlock it. That's always so fucking shitty to me.
100
and they're always
download is the worst fucking thing in the world. I hate when I see that.
Like, whenever I see kilobytes and it's a download and I paid for it, I'm like, you motherfuckers.
Well, it's like what I know one of them's doing it. There's a big one doing it. They're like there's a big game coming out that has like a $60 season pass. I think it might be Halo 5. I'm not so sure. But there's a really big game coming out with like a $60 season pass. Like, so you're paying for like a whole other fucking game, basically, or like a $40 pass maybe. And that right there is just fucking ridiculous to me. If you already have that much, like, you shouldn't just already be part of the game. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick here. Maybe if it came out a little later as it went along, but to be already on the disc like that, it just
it's just
and
some bullshit.
I know out of those 16, there's 2 additional DLCs that are paid. You can pay $25 for 2 extra DLCs that give you like 30 extra hours of gameplay. So
that's practically a game in itself.
I'm okay with that. They're giving me free DLC. Fuck yes, I'll pay for your paid stuff. Fuck yes.
I have no problem like paying for DLC. It's just more of like, you want the real ending to the game? Well, buy our shit. You know, kind of like that's what they like. Didn't like Mass Effect 3? I never played it, but didn't Mass Effect? I'm like the only person who's ever played Mass Effect. But didn't Mass Effect 3 have like day 1 DLC for like the expansion ending or something?
Yep. Yeah, that was like the first time that like DLC really pissed people off. They're like, what the fuck, day 1? And they kind of backed it up going like, well, you guys do realize that when you finish a game and the period between printing and getting it all ready and sent out, we worked on this thing, so it wasn't like we fucking had it ready and just, you know. So I mean, like, so I got that, but it was just like, you guys should have just waited.
The way it looks, though.
Yeah,
really, the way
it looks like the most douchiest move ever. It's like, dude, that should be that should be fucking free then, if that's the case.
Something else that I noticed here, and it might just be for the graphic novel, but if you see at the very end here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but see how it says it releases February 24th?
What releases February 24th?
The game itself. You see that
I see that. I see the. Oh yeah, available now.
Okay, so it was supposed to release February 24th. So what I'm thinking is they might have like printed the game and everything, because when I installed it today, when I first put it in my PS4, there was a 487 megabyte, day 1 patch, for stability reasons and whatever else. And again, I'm okay with that when I'm not fucking downloading like a 6 gigabyte file, day 1. It's just like they completed their game. They fucking did it, and then they just polished it from there.
Like, for instance, even though I did like this game, like Batman Arkham Origins, that was a game that they did put out that did have a lot of bugs and a lot of glitches, to the point where if you were doing the Riddler missions, which I wasn't really doing a bunch of them, but just if I came by one, I had some time to kill, all right, yeah, sure, I'll break open this tower, get like a few extra points. I'm never going to collect all of them because I got shit to do. But there was literally one that wouldn't open. No matter what I did, it wouldn't open. And they said, okay, we're no longer putting any more focus into this game because of this or whatever other project. So they literally have a game out there they were not putting any more patches out for.
Yeah.
And had so it's like, you motherfuckers, people, why are you putting out a defective product?
Yeah, because that game, it's like, don't get me wrong, I like Batman Arkham Origins a lot. It's the weakest one of the original 3. But yeah, there was a couple moments where I had to turn the game off, turn it back on to continue on. My game crapped out when I was battling Firefly. There was another part, too, where I fell out of the fucking window of Joker and landed in front of Jim Gordon, and fucking the audio was gone. And I thought it was part of the game. Like, maybe it's supposed to be silent. Like, they just got thrown out of the window and shit. Maybe, like, their hearing went away. And then after a while, I'm like, no, there's something very important going on, and I just can't see what it is.
I couldn't complete Max Payne 3 because back when I was living down in Copperopolis, I didn't have any internet down there. So I'm playing this fucking game, and I get to certain parts where it's like dual vocals laid over each other, but it's like the same voice actor. It's just like slightly off from each other, so I get this weird echoing effect. And I thought that was the whole fucking game. So I played through most of the game before I finally realized, like, oh, I should probably update this, just see what's going on. It fixes it instantly, you know. And it's just like, how the fuck did I play the last 6 hours hearing double vocals of everything, gunshots, explosions, whatever, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, well, I guess before, games had to be really good when you sent them out, because what the fuck are you going to do? The people would demand their money back immediately. I mean, we would still get the occasional broken game, but now they can just go, oh, you know what? We're going to just throw a patch out there, and we'll fix it later. But then on top of that, you still have like people getting way too lax about it, and companies just being way too greedy. Like, you know what? It would just take up more money just to put more time into this patch. Just move on.
Yeah, it's such a fucking dick move when you're spending $60 on a game.
Well, that's the other thing I want to say about CD Projekt Red. Back in January, they made the public announcement, because again, it was supposed to release February 24th. They made a public announcement in January to all the gamers, basically saying our extreme apologies, you know, but the game's just not ready. You know, it's not ready to ship. We can't, you know, it's not polished enough. There's bugs still, blah, blah, blah. They laid out this huge, like, you know, multi-paragraph thing, you know, just like explain their gamers, we're extremely sorry, but we just want you to have the best experience ever. And why don't game companies do that anymore? You know, it's just like they're setting new standards.
I think they're afraid it's going to make them look. I mean, it reverses, but I think it's afraid it's going to make them look like unprofessional or incompetent. Because whenever you'll hear, I mean, before there's this thing like, oh, what, like Ocarina of Time is going to be how much longer, or like Skyward. I'm only going to Zelda. Skyward Sword is going to be how much longer, but then really, you're actually now it's almost kind of one of those things. Now, whenever a game gets delayed, you almost kind of expect it. I think that now, whenever they say a particular date, that's just something they're saying for the moment, because I know it's going to be later. So I think they intentionally say, you know what, it's going to be out by Christmas. Actually, it's going to be out by summer. I think it's just something they keep doing, just so people, because if you say, hey, we got this awesome game. All right, when's it going to be out? 2 years. And people are going to kind of forget about it.
They got to keep the hype train going, you know?
Yeah, but I think that's actually really good of them to actually come out and be honest and just say, like, hey, just so you know, we're not dicking around. Here's why. We're working on it, all right? Don't hate us. And that's actually pretty good to do. That's actually, they seem like, I don't really know enough about, like, Project CD Red, but they seem to be a company that actually gives a shit.
And the nice thing, too, is it's Warner Brothers Interactive, so that's hopefully a good sign for Batman 4.
Well, I think definitely. I think it's Warner Brothers Interactive that was doing a lot of that stupid shit in the first place. They're the ones that did that with like Injustice, and they do that with some of the Mortal Kombat stuff too.
Well, the only thing they did with like Injustice and Mortal Kombat is they just did like the games played fine. The only game that had the errors was Arkham Origins, but
well, Injustice had the thing where just only the characters are already on there.
Yeah, they did the thing where the characters were already on there. And the other thing about Injustice is technically, if you want to buy the game day one, because I spent $60 on the game day one, and I probably put another $25 in the DLC into that game just to get all the crap there is, and I still didn't actually get all of it. I just got the stuff that I wanted, because some of the costumes I'm like, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But like, it's that thing that if I wanted to download every single thing on there, that game would have cost me like $100. And that's just almost like kind of ridiculous, you know, for costumes and shit. Like $100, it's like, come on, guys. That's why I'm kind of like, you know, like the Mortal Kombat 10 came out. I'm like, I might as well just wait a year until like the good version of it comes out. But
to get the year of the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah,
of it
but
or
hopefully,
something.
since The Witcher's a Warner Brothers one, maybe that's a good insight that Warner Brothers is turning a different way and fixing their problems. I mean, you look at the new Batman coming out. That's been in the works for about 4 years because Rocksteady, I think, has been working on it since Arkham City. Because the other one was made by some Canadian company.
I think wasn't it just Rocksteady Montreal?
Yeah, but it wasn't like the actual Rocksteady.
It wasn't their main developers. They just kicked it down.
They're just like from the distance. They're just like, "Fuck you, we did our best, eh?
You fucking asshole."
That's like EA. How many fucking studios does EA have? How many different studios are working on different NHL, NFL, MLB? You know, fucking what the?
Well, that's.
I heard what EA does. I mean, I don't really know a whole lot about the video game industry, but I heard something EA does is they'll build up a whole team, a whole like new subdivision just for one or two video games, and once they think those video games are done, they just get rid of the team. They just like drop them. I heard EA does that a lot. I don't know if that's true, but that's
I'd say probably one of their biggest developers has to be DICE, you know, with the Battlefield series and now doing Battlefront and everything. So
Battlefront has me worried because now I just recently found out that Battlefront doesn't have a story mode. It's just all online campaign.
Then the original one's not really. I mean, they like you kind of just played missions after mission after mission, but was there? I guess there was some CG cutscenes.
There was a little bit of. Here's what the thing is: you would have like the first one. It was more like it was made to you could go play online with your friends. It could be maybe you could play online. I don't know, but I remember it was very multiplayer. It was very multiplayer based, and it was more like you can kind of choose what planet you wanted to fight on, what side, what era, you know, so it was almost kind of like arcade based like that. But the thing about online play is, for me, I mean, now I live in a place where I have access to internet, no problem. But when I lived in Sonora, I couldn't do that. So, I mean, I kind of have to rely on other people. My thing is, the things I don't like about a lot of online games is eventually they're going to close down the server to that. And I'm just going to have a game that sits there. Now, granted, I know I'm not going to be playing all these games forever, but if I'm going to pay like $60 for something, I guess I just want to know I can go back and play one player if I feel like it. So even though if it didn't have a story, I could still go back and play one player on the other ones. The second one, I want to say it did have sort of a story. You just kind of played through. I want to say you just kind of play. It's like one of the clone troopers is narrating, but you just basically play from like somewhere in the clone, like from the Clone Wars up and through the rebellion. So yeah.
So are you saying that the new Battlefront is all multiplayer online, or can you play offline?
That's what I heard. I heard it's all online. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe you can do custom battles.
we got E3 here in like a few weeks, you know, I mean like come June, early June. So I'm sure we're gonna see a shitload more about all that, you know, coming up here pretty quick.
I want it to be good. I don't want it to be bad. But the way they're kind of showing the videos for it, like for a while I was saying, yeah, us here at EA, we were lucky enough to go look at the actual Star Wars footage, like all the old Star Wars props, to get ideas, and you see like fucking like programmers looking at old like models of an ATST, like, oh, what the fuck is this, you know? And then like modeling it's like, okay, yeah, I believe you. You all like Star Wars. I bet nearly anybody in programming likes Star Wars, you know? It's just a rough guess. But
they're just trying to come up with shit to make people excited for. I mean, look at the Xbox One launch when they first like announced Call of Duty or whatever, and they showed that first trailer. Oh, fish move out of the way when you swim next to them. It's like that was happening on Mario 64, man. You know, like what the fuck? that was a bullet point, you know. And it's just I don't know.
I didn't know that. I made that a point. Like, look, this fish fucking moves away from you. They really made a point of that.
If you could grab the fish and fuck it for no apparent reason, then I might buy into this. But
jump on a couch and be an Oprah too. Jesus.
No, if you play as Randy,
if you could go to Oprah's and jump up and down the couch while fucking a dog, then maybe I'll believe this is new technology.
If you play as Randy Quaid, all AI dogs run away from you. If you can catch them, you get a spare life.
The dog doesn't. You suck the life out of that dog.
I don't know. I read an interesting article too earlier today, actually, about CG quality, like visuals and everything. when we're gonna get to that spot or that point of where computers and like consoles or whatever can handle like processing, you know, a CG image, kind of like they take like that Final Fantasy movie for example, you know, like that style of visuals. That's still, I mean, they're estimating, and this is like higher ups in NVIDIA and like all these people, you know, they're still estimating, you know, at least another 15, 20 years. They're saying at least another 2 console generations before we get anywhere close to that.
Yeah, like for instance, like when they released the newest Battlefront trailer, that, I mean, don't get me wrong, that was a cool trailer, but they're like, this is in-game footage. It's like, all right, you're probably using the engine, but I know the characters aren't looking around that fluidly and moving around, turning like, hey man, right over here. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I know that's not your character making that motion and doing all that. So it's kind of like when they came out. Remember when they came out with like when they were first like, but right before the last gen, they were showing like PlayStation 3 was showing all like these ads. Not all these. There's not really. Well, I guess they're ads. Like all this stuff at E3, and I think it maybe was Killzone. And it was just like this pre-rendered cutscene that looked really good. And they're like, yeah, man, this is fucking in-game footage. And, you know, the programmers had to be looking at marketing like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Like, my name's on the fucking credits there, you fucking ass.
So I remember that because I was like, all right, now if that's real, that's pretty awesome. But even then, everybody was skeptical. Like, I doubt that's in-game footage.
Absolutely.
Wasn't that Killzone 2?
Killzone 2 or 3, which had to be Killzone 2.
I want to say.
Well, just recently, the worst example of it, and I was so fucking disappointed, was Watch Dogs from Ubisoft last year. That was fucking horrific. And granted, I bought it on PS3, so I was expecting it not to look fan-fucking-tastic, but like, that seriously, Aiden himself, the main character, and his animations and models and everything, awesome. Fucking perfect. The world, worse than fucking Grand Theft Auto 3. Like, and I'd honestly, like, compare it to that. Like, there is no textures. Everything's super bland, and, like, I don't
really?
know.
That
you know,
bad?
see, like, that's, yeah, PS3 version, fuck yeah.
They probably like, well, fuck you cheap bastard. You should have got PS4 version. You know, they're probably going that way.
Fortunately, I didn't have a fucking PS4 back then, but
yeah.
I don't know, it's shit like that, you know. It's like
I was just so you know, I wasn't on their side. I'm on your side. I was just as if I was that guy. Just saying.
No.
The fuck him? You got a PS4? Yeah.
Fucking douche, start shaking the camera. I'm gonna fucking jump into this camera and punch you in the face.
But it's just it's the hype trailers, you know, and you see that shit every year, E3 or Gamescom or PAX or whatever, you know, and it's like, I don't know, I can't take any of those trailers seriously until I see actual in-game footage. That's when I'll start judging it.
There was a point in time where, like, whenever those trailers came out, like, well, even still now, there's somebody nearly as soon as they said trailer, they start jerking off the second they see, like, oh my god, look at all that shit in Watch Dogs. And then, like, once, you know, it's like you can hack into people's phones, you can, like, activate traffic lights, and this. No, that's cool, that's a start. But I mean, it sort of seems kind of like when that game came out, everyone was so excited, and then once it did, it was just like, oh, that's all there kind of is to it. Nothing really all that amazing about it. Or now maybe Watch Dogs 2, if Watch Dogs 2 happens,
it will.
That can be a really cool. It won't.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
It's not because Assassin's Creed 1. I got Assassin's Creed 1. I got. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not proud to admit it. I got bullied into a game by a GameStop guy into pre-ordering the game, but never happened again after that. It didn't happen again after that. I was like, and basically. Like that kind of stopped me from getting the other ones, but Spencer tells me how good like 2 and 3 were. So
yeah,
I mean,
2 was so. I mean, like, because that first one, because I borrowed it from you, and it's like it's not like it's a bad game, but it has its flaws. But you can see what it's trying to do,
where it's going.
And then number 2 just takes where that thing was going and fucking did it, and I was just so amazed by that. And then from this point on, they just released so many of them. There's no way you can fucking keep up, but.
Like when I got the game too, it was one of those things like I walked in like, hey man, you want to get Assassin's Creed? I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, oh, you know, just you get like the whole, you got. I was a little bit more like a bit of a pushover then. Not gonna lie, I was like, oh well, it's a really awesome game. I'm just trying to help you out, man. I just thought you might want to check out this awesome.
Just thought you wanted to get laid later. I don't know. I mean, not by me. I'm not fucking gay. Don't fucking look at me like that.
One sec. Yeah, what's up, Jake?
Nope.
No, I'm actually doing a podcast right now, but I'll talk to you a little bit. It's all good. Hey, say hi. You're on the microphone. Yeah. Anyway.
Yo.
Can't hear him?
He's probably like, Ryan, what are you doing fucking yelling in your room?
Speaking of pre-orders and GameStop really pushing that on you, I think I broke a GameStop employee's heart the other day.
Oh, please.
I go in.
They don't have hearts. They're not real people.
They have half
I
the
go
soul,
in.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I like the maybe part.
I go in to go buy Battlefield 4 because I have Battlefield 4 on PC, but I don't got no fucking friends that have PCs, so I figured I'm going to pick it up on PS4. So I go and buy that. And then this lady's talking to me about all the games that are coming out, you know, and like all the trailers and blah, 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 all this shit. And she goes, oh, have you seen The Witcher? And I'm like, yeah, I was like, actually pre-ordered it. And she goes, oh, cool, what's your account? And I just kind of rolled along with it. She starts typing in my information, and then all of a sudden her eyes get like super big. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, when did you pre-order this? Because I don't see it on here. And I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I got it through Amazon. Her fucking face, dude.
Oh my god, that is the fucking best. That's like my favorite moment is when you put a fucking GameStop employee down, put him on the shame rack.
I just see you like putting your hand on the table, looking her in the eye, like, look at me, look at me. I want to see your soul crush. Yes, yes, that's the shit.
So
that's like no. What happened was when I went in, because like the guys were like, oh, you know, well, real. They didn't say like real gamers get this. Basically, just kind of like got on me till I pre-ordered the thing. Like, oh, well, you can just pay it off. You can like pay it off whenever you get it, you know. So then I get in there, and I told the guy, well, I'm a little low on money right now. Oh, you just throw in $5 and you'll pay it down, like as if it was fucking like a loan or some shit, you know. But I get in there like 2 weeks later. After it came out, and I did this right before the game came out. I pre-ordered it. I go in there, and the guy's like, the game came out like a week ago. I'm like, you motherfucker. And that's like, ever since then, I've kind of refused that pre-order thing. Because like, even after I told the guy the situation, they still give you like, well, this came out a week ago. Yeah, well, you have my fucking copy then?
Yeah, like, really quickly, Cameron, you got that off Amazon, and that came out, you came here today?
Yeah, game launched today. I bought it Amazon Prime.
Wow,
right
that's fucking that 2-day shipping, because they shipped it out yesterday, because that's what they always do. But man, that's good right there, just because of that.
Yep.
They got like one time I went in there. Spencer and I have we mentioned this on the podcast before, but there's this infamous guy we know as the Red Dead Revolver guy, and
or the Red Dead Redemption guy, I guess is technically
Red Dead Redemption guy. Yeah, because every day we went into GameStop, this guy was there. But he was kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but he was like slender pudgy. I don't really know how to explain exactly.
Well, he was skinny, but he had just a little bit of that like belly, which is most of the case for.
And man tits. He had like the kind of like coney, like I don't know how to explain it. It's like he has kind of a slender frame, but somehow had this gut that kind of came out as well as man tits, just kind of were peeking. Like how the fuck did this happen?
Well,
like,
sadly enough, it's that sort of thing that happens like when you don't fucking you have a slender frame, but you don't exercise and you just drink a bunch of soda and eat chips. It like. On that slender frame, it just doesn't pan out very well.
And it's so weird because the guy would go in there. Like I actually did pre-order Red Dead Redemption because that was a game I really did want. But whenever we went in there, just killing time, the guy would always be hovering around us like the fucking planets around the sun, just circling around us. And sometimes his other buddy would kind of come in and just kind of do the same thing, kind of like you know, just not letting us go. Like, all right, we gotta go now, and just like run when there's like a space between the two, you know.
Well, they look for the corners of the shop once you start moving into like the fucking DS section or something like that, where they know that they can come up from both sides and you got nowhere to go.
Almost where they're like pushing you back and forth, like a bull, like what? You don't want to pre-order Halo like Legends? What the fuck, you know?
Yeah, because I think this was when Halo 4 was coming out, or not 4, but Halo.
It was Reach.
Reach.
Because
and I just remember like this guy, and every single time for like over a month, you could walk into GameStop at any day of the week, fucking any time. He had this Red Dead Redemption shirt on. I don't think he ever washed it. I don't think he showered. He just fucking kept wearing the same thing over and over again. He probably had a fucking cot in the back of the room.
I don't think they give him cots at GameStop. I think they just walk him back in the room and they just put him on a hook and they just kind of like plug like this IV in the back of the neck and they just kind of it's kind of like
Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas, yeah. They just give him like this nutrients they're like these organic organisms just kind of need nutrients to kind of survive the night. You know, they just plug like this thing in the back of their net. They just kind of hang there. When it's time to go, they unplug it. They kind of get back in there. You know.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but you know, like
most of them.
They grind them down and like feed them to the others.
Yeah, exactly. To the employees that survive longer, because this guy disappeared after like the Red Dead Redemption came out.
Yeah, once the game, it's like almost like Rockstar maybe made this guy and like dropped them in. Like, all right, here's the Red Dead Redemption guy. We're gonna put him in one GameStop across like across the country, because like he was there until like once we went in there to get like Red Dead Redemption, he wasn't there. It's like
I never saw him ever again.
The game came and it's just like he just disappeared out of existence. It's like. Just my work here is done.
Just like hologram.
What?
He was a really pushy hologram, if that's the case.
Or it was just one of those things.
This is the guy that tried him and like his short, fat, bald buddy try to like gangbang us into like buying fucking Halo Reach with the statue and like the $150 version of it.
Yeah, if you pre-order now, you get like all this DLC, a graphic novel, a poster, and a statue of Master Chief holding with his dick out or whatever. I don't know. But it's one of those things like the guy literally, like, I could imagine like, it's the day. Like, maybe it's kind of like, it's like the part in Cloud Atlas. Like, we're going to the island. We're going to the promised land. It's just like, it's the day. Red Dead Redemption is coming out. Then all of a sudden he's like, starts to cough. Has like all these like bright blue veins going up the side of his neck. Starts coughing. He starts like crumble away to dust. Like, no, there was time. You know, he like, puts his hand out in front of him. Just
like
slowly,
blows away.
The manager is sitting there with like this very stern look and just pulls out like a fucking like
shot
pulls out like a dust buster a dust buster and starts to vacuum it up.
I know it's good we have places like Amazon where we don't have to like mess with anybody else. No fucking human interaction. It sounds horrible to say that, but like the human interaction
that I fucking pre-ordered that, and that was sitting on my doorstep when I got home today.
See,
that was the coolest shit.
When my fucking Batman 4 comes in from Amazon, I'm gonna make sure it fucking is primed in here.
Mm-hmm.
I can't order things online because postage around here just drops shit on your doorstep, and there's a crazy homeless lady that just wanders back and up and down the street. I'm assuming it's her that's taken 2 packages I've ordered. So yeah,
you know what you could do is you could go get a P.O. box.
I could, but. Yeah, eventually.
That probably didn't cross your mind till I mentioned it, but
no, it did actually. I don't know. It's just more money, and I don't know how much more money. I know it's
like
more
an extra key. I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with. And...
Yeah, I gotta choose. It's my key ring's already kind of full. I might have to take off the Rolling Stones keychain. So
and that's not happening.
Yeah. It gives it character. But no, I might just get a P.O. box eventually just to avoid that kind of shit. But no, what the fuck was I going to say regarding video games? Oh, you guys keep talking. I was going to say something, but I forgot.
Well, I was just going to say, it's probably a good moment to wrap it all up. It's getting slightly late. I know Cameron wants to play his new game. We all know how that feeling is. When you get a new game and it's just sitting there eyeing you.
Man.
Oh, since your wedding, something else I wanted to talk about.
It's a really, really long story.
Keep on making the show go. They come into my own house, tell me we're going to record a show, stop me from playing my game.
That's all good. I agreed to it up front. So
I kind of peer pressured him. I fucking GameStopped on him, pushed him up in the corner, like, you're a fucking podcast, man. Started pushing him. Just $5 down. $5 down. Why is there $5 for the podcast? I don't know.
It's the Podomatic fee.
Yeah, you gotta pay for it. Somebody's gotta pay for it. I got this really weird email from something. It was like podcast.com, and it's like, hey, here you like to do podcasts or something like that. Well, you can put all your podcasts on podcast.com for free. And I was almost like, the word free and podcast never seem to go together unless you're downloading them. So I got kind of iffy about that, like it's a scam or something.
Nope.
I bet it probably is. That's probably a market that hasn't been expanded yet, like the black market, podcasting market. I don't know.
Who knows? But that's a good place to wrap it up. Make sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, and more. Until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I'm Cameron Curbelo.
We'll see you some other time.
Later.
for listening to the Old Man Orange Podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or Gamestop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.
You know, the wave, the screen doesn't.
Maybe he's waving at me.
translate
I
so
don't
well.
know. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, flip you off.
No, I was waving at the audience. I was flipping Ryan off. Yeah. How's the? Are you guys still in the band and doing all that?
Yeah, we're doing it's like partial practices. Like Cameron just meets with everybody solo, and then hopefully we hope it all comes together.
Yeah.
Are you guys like the Beatles? Like one member won't talk to the other. You well, tell George I told him to go fuck himself. What, like that?
No, everybody still like talks and stuff within our group. It's just
Nobody can meet up on the same day for some odd reason.
I'm the one that like Spence meets with me here like someday during the week. I go down to Modesto to meet our new drummer once a week, and then Matt comes over here on Sundays. So
Any new shows at all lately?
no, we don't have enough material to play a show yet, but we're working on it.
Did you guys have one or two like you opened for someone like down like in Stockton or Sacramento or something?
Those are like the premarital death.
Yeah,
ones.
that was the last band.
Oh, you guys aren't premarital death anymore?
No, have you even heard anywhere?
Oh
shit?
fuck! I haven't heard any of their new shit. No, is it still like death metal or is it something?
No, it's like
else?
erotica music.
Yeah.
It's erotic.
No,
Now,
it's way heavier, way more complex, much more up in your face, not so generic. I don't know, I'm totally digging it. Look it up, Neuro Butcher.
Neuro Butcher. Oh right, Spencer told me about that. Now Neuro is that?
Yeah, the Hyatt got kicked out. So
Yeah.
Nick Hyatt got kicked out.
no, not Nick Hyatt, but
Josh
Hyatt. Josh
Yeah.
Hyatt.
He's just being a douche, man.
That sucks. I always thought he was so nice. He was he actually being a douche, just not showing up to practice, or?
He's basically like coming to practice. Here's a whole song. We're playing this. Fuck what you say. Like.
Really? I have trouble imagining being
Right?
like that.
It's hard to believe,
Yeah.
right? You know, and I feel kind of bad because I'll run into him every once in a while, and it's just like those awkward. It's like, hey, and he's just kind of like, hey,
He's so butthurt about the whole situation.
and it's just like,
still.
yeah, and I just feel.
Is it like one of those things like you pull up? You guys are parked like at you pull up next to him like at like a intersection, and like, hey, all of a sudden like Rolling Stones, you're just a memory starts to play. You like look him in the eyes, you slowly pull away from him.
I kid you not, it is about exactly as you just described it. I literally have done that before. Where I pull up to him at an intersection. Hey, Josh. Hey. So.
You actually initiated. Like, oh, there he is. Hey, man, are you still pissed?
Because like, thing is like, I'm not like angry at Josh or anything like that. Like it was just
Yeah, I
like
don't
it
think
was
any
a
of us
unanimous decision. It wasn't like, you know, like it was more like a business decision more than anything. It was like fucking Kiss or something like that, where he's like, we got to get rid of Ace Frehley. He's a fucking alcoholic and he's being a douchebag. You know, like it's not like we hate the guy. Just like, well, you did use the word douchebag. Yeah, doesn't mean we hate the guy.
No.
But it was more like one of those ones, like that sort of thing. Like for the band to continue, there had to be a decision to be made. So I don't feel like I guess as being the bass player, you're kind of like, hey, you don't have that same exact feeling as everybody else. So you feel like you can still say hello and goodbye, even though it's awkward.
It's not like we just kicked him out one day. You know, it was like we had serious discussions. We talked to him. We tried to meet up with him like 1,000 fucking times. He would never show up. And eventually, we're just like, well, okay, later, dude. You know.
Oh. RJ still in the band?
Yeah.
Still RJ. So basically, remember
It's just-
this new is
It's this new.
There's
Travis
no
guy.
Hyatt, and then we got this guy named Travis from Modesto, who's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that sucks about Josh, but it happens, I guess.
We needed to rebuild and reform, you know, and I think it shows if you listen to old premarital death stuff versus our new shit. There's a gigantic difference. You can hear the creative differences, you know.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot of it's in like that kind of metal. A lot of it's in the drumming, right?
No, because Josh was coming in with guitar riffs, being like, "Here you go, dude. I've been playing guitar for 5 years, and I've been playing guitar personally for like 14 years." And he's like handing me these riffs, and I'm like, you know.
Oh, I thought. Well, he was the drummer though, right?
Yeah. He was writing
Yeah, but
everything.
Oh, he was writing everything, even though he was the
minus
drummer.
vocals, but yeah.
Minus the vocals.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I hope this new one. I mean, it sounds like the new one's going good. You guys have to send me a link to some of the new stuff at some point.
Yeah,
we
there's
got
one of them you can
single
listen to on SoundCloud.
Oh, SoundCloud. I'll look that up. What's it called? Neuro Butchers. Neuro Butchers.
You're better off. I'll say this: it's hard to search through it through SoundCloud. Has such a shitty search engine in it. You're better off looking it up on Facebook first, and then find it through there. Yeah,
Okay,
I don't
I'll,
know what it is, but you go to type it in on SoundCloud, and it's just hard to find. I've noticed that with other bands that when I try to look for stuff in there, I could not find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have
I'll
it
look
up
that
on
one
Facebook.
up.
It's really easy to look. So Matt and I actually just shot a guitar playthrough video the other day of our single. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Anyway, it was a good podcast. I'll see you guys later.
All right.
Okay, Ryan. I'll
Bye,
talk to you in
Ryan.
a couple days.
All right. You guys take it easy.
Peace.
See you, dude.